Welcome back, everyone. Today on the Motorcycle.com New Rider series, we're going to go over bike maintenance and how to adjust your controls. Now, if you haven't seen the past videos in this series, be sure to check those out. So, Rosslyn, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
All right. We didn't need both riders for this particular video, so Rosslyn volunteered to be our guinea pig. So let's begin. Very first thing to be aware of are the controls. You have your clutch lever here, brake lever here. So imagine these controls weren't here for a second and just put your fingers out where you naturally would. It would probably be a little bit lower, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's way more comfortable.
Exactly. We're gonna do the same thing on this side too.
Yeah.
A little bit down. So that's what we're looking for, is not this crazy amount of bend in your wrist. You're looking for your wrist to be pretty neutral like that when your fingers are grabbing the levers.
Cool.
Next thing would be the mirrors. You want to be sure that you can see at least a little bit of the cars or traffic behind you. Inevitably, you're probably gonna see a little bit of your elbow in one or both of the mirrors, and that's okay. So after we have the levers where you want it, the mirrors where you want it, we're gonna move down to the shift lever.
Okay.
So when you put your foot on the lever, either up or down, above it or below it, you don't want too crazy of a bend with your ankle to get underneath the lever or to get above the lever.
Okay, yeah. So how would I adjust that?
So you can adjust it. There are these two nuts here. You loosen those, and then you would have to twist this rod either forwards or backwards, and that either lowers or raises the shifter, and then you just kind of fine tune where you want that to be. Once you find that spot, you just tighten up those bolts and you're on your way. Next thing to do, let's go over a pre-ride check, something you should look over on the bike before every ride. And the good news is it's super quick and super easy. So I'm gonna walk you through it. And the first step is let's turn the key on. So let's check the signals first, left and right, make sure the left and right goes on, front, back, that works, left,
cool.
That works. Check your brake lever.
Thank you.
Yep, that works. Now I'll do you a favor here and I'll do the foot portion. Yep, that works. The next thing we're gonna do, let's turn the bike on, make sure the bike is in neutral before we do anything else. It is in neutral, so let's turn the bike on. So press this part all the way down. It's on. Okay. So before you do the high beams, the low beams are working, so check the high beams. High beams are working too. You turn it off. So that's it for the pre-ride check before every ride. Let's dive a little bit deeper now into more in-depth stuff, something you should check probably every week, every 2 weeks. Starting with the tires, check your tire pressures, front and rear. Every bike has a sticker somewhere about how much air should be in the tires. So get a tire pressure gauge and just check that before you head off. And after that, check your brake pads to see how thick or thin they are. So these are the brake pads in here, but since it's hard to see in this particular setup, we have a brake pad out of the bike. So this is a brand new brake pad. There's lots of material there, it's pretty thick. You can see these two grooves in there. If you peek under here and you still see these grooves, then you still have life left in the brake pads.
Cool.
If you look underneath the bike and you don't see these grooves, that's your sign that these are super thin and worn out and it's time to change them.
Cool.
So the last thing to do, the last thing to check is in the back of the bike, the chain slack. The super simple way of doing it is taking your foot, if you want to do it right now, you can, taking your foot underneath the chain and just flicking it up and down.
Okay.
If it's super tight and won't move at all, that's not good. If it's just flapping up and down, that's also not good. You want somewhere in the middle, which isn't very scientific, obviously. So there is a specific number that every bike has to have. The owner's manual has that number of how much slack should be in the chain. Yeah, so how did that one feel when you were picking that one up and down?
It's pretty like bouncy, I guess I would say.
Yeah, that's a good amount of chain slack to
Okay.
have. So checking your oil is something that's super important, obviously, and you should do it probably about the same times that you check your tire pressures, your brake pads, your chain, all that good stuff. And this is super simple. Put the bike upright like this, and this is called your sight glass. This is where the oil comes down into. You take a look really close. There's these two notches. As long as the oil is somewhere within those two notches, you're good to go. And if it's obviously, if it's below this lower line, you need some more oil. And to do that, you pop this cap off, add some more oil, and then you just put as much as you need to get the level where it should be, and you're done.
So how often should I be changing the oil?
Yeah, good question. That's a funny one too, because if you ask 10 different people, you're gonna get 10 different answers. But in general, your owner's manual has that number, how many miles you should go before you check it and or change it. So when in doubt, follow the owner's manual. That'll set you straight. All right, so the next important piece of maintenance here is lubing your chain. It's super simple, but it can get a little bit messy. So to make things a little easier for ourselves, we prop the rear of the bike up in the air with this stand. You don't have to do that, but it's easier because we're gonna turn the tire. And if you don't have a stand, then you can just have to have a buddy roll the bike along with you as you're along with it spraying the chain lube. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Do not turn the bike on and have someone like use the engine and roll along. People have lost fingers doing that. So if you're gonna lube your chain, please keep it in neutral, turn the bike off, and just turn the tire with your hand. I will hand you this bottle of chain lube.
Okay.
Shake it up a little bit. We put this piece of cardboard here to protect the swing arm of the bike, to protect other stuff from not getting overspray on it. What you want to happen is you want it to look wet, but not dripping.
Okay.
So once you see that the entire chain is wet, we're done.
So it shouldn't like run down onto the floor.
You might get a little bit. That's
Okay.
why we have the cardboard here, but it shouldn't be just like overflowing onto the cardboard.
Cool.
So, all right, you ready?
I think so.
All right, and here we go. That's good. And it's hard to tell.
It is a little hard to tell.
It's hard to tell because this is a new chain already.
Oh, I see.
On an older chain that has miles on it and like dirt and grime and stuff, well, one, you'll clean off the chain, and then you'll especially notice that dull finish will turn shiny once you spray the chain lube on it. So
Sweet.
that's it. All right, so we've covered how to maintain your bike, how to adjust your controls. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I think that pre-check is going to take me a little bit longer than that 20 seconds, but I think I have the fundamentals for sure.
There's always a learning curve, right? And once you get comfortable, it'll be like second nature to you. And then of course, there are so many things we didn't cover. There's so much to motorcycle ownership and maintenance to go over. All of them are easy, but there's only so much time in a day, right? The good news is you can hop over to Motorcycle.com. We have written stories there about maintaining your motorcycle. So hop over there and read some good stuff. Please be sure to watch our next video where we're gonna go over how to accessorize your motorcycle. Thanks for watching, everyone, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.